What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Welcome to the Nightly Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Before we get into our capping and our action, we have terrible news from our friend Josh Witt. I'm so sorry to hear, Josh, that your wife has passed away. There's no words that anybody can say, but we care for you. We're here for you, and our love and strength and thoughts we send to your family. It's not going to be easy here getting through this all. I can't imagine the pain that you're feeling right now. So it's just heartbreaking. So I'll hit you up tonight, and my thoughts are with you, Josh, and all of our thoughts are with you and your family as you deal with this loss. So our love to you, Josh, our friend, and coming here and capping. If that is a relief for you, if it can take you away from the pain and the grief, then please join us and cap. We're very thankful to cap with you. It's a tough way to start the show. There's things that are bigger than sports and bigger than our action. Even though, before I read that, the action had completely taken over my whole day and night, and completely. I mean, I haven't even been able to talk to anyone or see through anything because of the action being so thick. Our thoughts are with you, Josh. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We got Josh Witt here, AJ Stogstill, Bogey Boy, Top Set, Rod Zawacki. Says cash the links minus 19.5 at plus 250. Excellent work, Rod. Excellent work. Top Set cash that the Marlins Miami first three under a half at plus 300. Mark Stasowski ready to get to work. Morgan Spooner in the house. Nicholas Handy. Sean Powell, now a member of Pub Sports Radio. That means a ton to us. And our thoughts are with the Witt family. It's this. I mean, I started out 8-0. I just lost to San Francisco, San Diego first three under 8-0 in MLB, and then I just lost to Washington Atlanta full game over 9.5. So that makes me 8-2. Now, what could happen here in the bottom of the ninth with none out and 2 men on for the Reds is I could get two bangers here. I could get the Reds plus 101 and the under 9.5. I have the Red Sox -1 here, so Red Sox -1, and then that's it. So, at least, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were not winning days for me in MLB. So at least I stopped that streak. But I'd like to do more than just that. Then in WNBA, how many times am I going to bet the Connecticut Sun full game? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just stupid is what it is. I mean, I will only bet them first half from here on in. They're sitting here up 9 after the half. They're being outscored 26-12 in the fourth quarter. I mean, if you keep hitting your head against the wall and it hurts, stop hitting your head against the wall. Connecticut Sun have hurt me badly. That should have been a banger here. Then Aces -4.5. Aces double results on right now. I thought that it was such a smash and grab in the CFL. It's so important to bet size appropriately. The Winnipeg first half -3.5 was a loss. The Winnipeg double result was a loss because of Caden Salter's drive there at the end. It's just been the craziest football game to watch. I mean, when you see a team just having every opportunity to score and just kicking a couple field goals and dumb mistakes. I cashed BC first half team total under 11.5, and I cashed BC Winnipeg first half under 26.5. But it's just it's insane that I had to watch that. So I'm stuck with all these emotions, watching the action going on, just feeling the wins and the losses so intensely, and then we come and we hear about what's going on for our friend Josh. So it's there's nothing else to say. Let's just do what we love to do, and that's cap the card. So thank you guys for joining us here. The Nightly Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. I have 3 bets that I've made, but there's more bets I want to make. It's just that it appears that I'll be going up against line moves, and there's no need to rush into them. So let's get to work, because I have a card starting right now, and I meant to already move on. That's what I meant to add, that they weren't. Maybe they're just still not offering me. They weren't offering. So let's get right to business. But let's see if they're offering now the first 5 in the Cubs game, or even the first 3, because this was not being offered here. Not being offered. So let's just quickly see, because if it is offered, I'm going to beat myself up. And it's not. Okay, good. Good. Okay, nothing to worry about. All right, let's get to work here. New York Yankees, Chicago Cubs. Yankees 61-47, 35-24 on the road. The Chicago Cubs 61-47, 30-22 at home. We're at Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's get right into the weather at Wrigley. Plus 3% runs, plus 24% home runs, minus 10% doubles and triples, and minus 5% singles. We have Will Warren here on the hill, 7-5, 4.41 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. He's got a 4.59 expected ERA. Look, he must feel that the Yankees don't trust him. Will Warren had to start July 1st, 7th, 12th. Since post All-Star break, he has thrown 3 2/3 innings. That's it. I mean, he was a bullpen piece on Wednesday, July 22nd. He got to start on July 26th, and he allowed 6 earned runs in 3 innings. To me, he should be faded in this situation. I don't know where he is mentally. Obviously, this is a kid, so we're not talking about someone who a Japanese pitcher in this situation, like a Tomoyuki Sugano, would be like, oh, I think this rest will help him. But Will Warren's got to feel that this team doesn't believe in him. It's a very, very strange situation here for Will Warren, and I want to fade him. And I already have. I'm on the Chicago Cubs full game at minus 135, and I would like more. I would like the first 5 as well. The way I see it, there's advantages in this game, and they all are on the side of the Cubs, except for the bullpen. Let's talk about Shota Imanaga, the lefty on the hill for the Cubs. 7-8, 3.72 ERA, 1.10 WHIP, 3.64 expected ERA. We got Dabby Cab in the house. What up, Dabby Cab? And look at that Philly Eagle flyer, 5-1 on tied after Tuesday. He's running nice. Love to see it. Shota Imanaga. Now, there have been there was a stretch where he was the worst pitcher in baseball. Between May 18th and June 4th, he had 4 starts. In those 4 starts, he allowed 26 earned runs. I mean, it was horrific. I mean, absolutely terrible. But he has righted the ship in an enormous way. The 2 starts post All-Star break, hasn't allowed a run over 13 innings. Oh, Bogey Boy. Bogey Boy, thank you for that wonderful, wonderful news. Gets us to 10-2 in MLB today. Oh, that is just... Oh, also, the I Have a Sickness play today. We started it this week. Well, it cashed on Tuesday, it cashed on Wednesday, and it cashed on Thursday. They told me to stop backing Rhett Loudon. They told me. I did not listen. So we cash the Reds, and we cash the Pitt Cincinnati under 9.5. Okay, let's keep rolling here. So Imanaga is pitching at a very high level. Last 4 starts, if we go back to July 4th, he's allowed 3 earned runs over the 4 starts. Of course, he's been shoving since he's come out. And look, he's pitching very well right now, and he should be trusted. I know that the splits say that he's bad at home, but I think we should look past those splits. Let's talk about the bullpens. That's the only place where the Cubs don't have an advantage. Cubs bullpen 4.73 ERA, 1.44 WHIP. Yankees bullpen 2.94 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. Then we have the sticks. This is our big advantage. Big advantage. Cubs first righties, 261, 787 OPS last 30 days, compared to the Yankees first lefties, 205, 609 OPS. I think this is a great way to get the day started, and I want to invest more. I want the first half in as well. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. Let's move over here. Move over to Friday action. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. It's already minus 145. Look at that. It's moving fast. I wish the first 5s were available. They're not yet. So we had 15 cents of movement towards the Chicago Cubs. That movement makes sense to me. That's the point of this show. Is to get ahead of things, and that's what we've done here. This total is a 9 minus 115 to the over. I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with it. What I want to mess with is that I believe that there's a huge advantage, or several advantages. First off, the starting pitching, and then the bats. And then you have a home team against the Yankees. Now, the Yankees didn't have to travel, of course, after their series with the White Sox. So I like the spot. Let's take a look at let's not even look at the cash flow, because not so many books even have this up. What we know is this move from minus 130 to minus 145. That's what we need to know, and that's what we know. And that's important enough. The way I see it, we are in business. We don't have the opportunity to look at the price difference at Pinnacle first 5 full game. The first 5s aren't out for this one yet. But as soon as they are, unfortunately, we're going to have to take the minus a half. The first 5 will be too expensive, and we probably want it to be too expensive. If it isn't too expensive, we should have some concern. Penny's already moved this to minus 150 for the Cubs, minus 150. So we are in a business here. That's game 1 on the board. It is the Chicago Cubs for me. Let's move on to game 2 on the card. Pittsburgh Pirates, 55-54, 26-26 on the road at the Cincinnati Reds, 50-57, 23-30 at home. Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Ohio. Offensive weather here, very offensive. We have plus 15% runs, plus 14% homers, plus 7% doubles and triples, and plus 3% singles. And we have the pitching matchup of our wildest dreams, Mr. Paul Skeens on the bump here. Oh, and nice job. So Spooner says don't trust the Cubs pen, but he's on the first 5 minus a half, got the minus 110 here. First 5 minus a half, minus 110. That's nice. Where did you get that at? I'd be curious to see what books are offering because none of my books are right now. But I think that makes sense, Spooner. But I'm going to double down here myself. But let's talk about Paul Skeens, 99, 3.65 ERA, 1.06 whip, 2.82 expected ERA. And there were some times this year where he just, didn't look so dominant. There was a 4-start period between May 17th and June 3rd where he didn't go deeper than 5 1/3. And he allowed 5 earned runs, 4 earned runs, 1 earned run, but 3 runs in total, and 3 earned runs. And he just looked not as good. And then he bounced out of it with 3 quality starts, but they weren't so dominant, but they were good enough. Now, he lost all 3, but in each start, he went 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. And then he got lit up again. It was very strange. June 26th, at home versus the Reds, 4 earned runs over 5 innings, these Cincinnati Reds. And then July 1st, 7 earned runs over 4 innings. And then again, he righted the ship. He comes out of the All-Star break. He allows 1 earned run over 7 innings and a 7-1 win at the Guardians. And then the next start, 5 1/3, 5 earned runs, and 11-0 loss at home versus the Cubs. It's been a strange season, but then when you go back to his numbers, 3.65 ERA, 1.06 whip is pretty good. I mean, yeah, it's a far cry from the 1.97 ERA, 0.95 whip that we have, saw last year and the schemes that we're accustomed to. Now, look, it's a pretty busy life he has now. He's a star. His girlfriend's a star. I mean, it's obviously affecting what's happening on the bump for him. And his splits are fine. Look, he's a dominant, phenomenal pitcher. We have a couple trends there for Rod Zawacki on Shota Imanaga. Bet on Shota Imanaga and bet on Chicago Cubs in the home games. A couple trends there in our chat. I will copy and paste them so we can discuss them on the morning show as well. But that was Paul Skeens. The tricky spot in this is not Paul Skeens. It is Hunter Green. Hunter Green was phenomenal last year. And, his numbers last year aren't too far away from the numbers. I guess they are. Come on. I was going to say what Skeens did last year. But last year he had 19 starts, went 7-4 with a 2.76 ERA, 0.94 whip, struck out 132, over 107 2/3. So he missed the first half of 2026 due to the right elbow surgery to remove the bone chips and the loose bodies. Didn't use the nano needle like Tariq Skubal, so he was out much longer. And he's not looked good. He's got a 7.06 ERA and a 1.34 whip, but he's got a 4.68 expected ERA. His first start, he came back, he got destroyed. 8 earned runs over 3 1/3. That was at home. He followed that up with another home start versus the Cubs, and he annihilated them. He was Hunter Green of old. 12 strikeouts and 1 walk over 7 innings, allowed 3 hits, and didn't allow an earned run. Then July 19th on Sunday, July 19th, he had a quality start. 3 earned runs, 6 innings. So the idea was Hunter Green is back. Saturday, July 25th, a 7-0 loss at the Cardinals. He got destroyed again. He only struck out 3 batters, 6 earned runs over 5 1/3. Reds bullpen is very good. Over the last 30 days, 3.19 ERA, 1.18 whip. I'm shocked that I said they're very good. But look, they're just pitching at a high level right now. They, got me the bag today. Pirates bullpen, 4.39 ERA, 1.44 whip. They're mediocre or less than. Then when we come to the sticks, the Reds just don't hit righties. 225, 696 OPS. Pirates versus righties, 262, 764 OPS. Now those numbers are dropping slightly, but they're hitting. Rodzwacki says bet under the total in Terry Francona games when playing against a team with a winning record in the second half of the season. Under's record as manager of the Cincinnati Reds, 41-16. Let's get into the line history here for this Skeens Hunter Green spot. We've seen a 5-cent move to the over. 5-cent move to the over. Opened up over 7.5 minus 115. Now it's over 7.5 minus 120. When we get to the money line, we've seen a 10-cent move towards Paul Skeens from minus 110 to minus 120. Now let's take a look at the price difference. Pirates are minus 122 full game. First 5 minus 123. So the Reds are plus 111 full game, and first 5, they're plus 106. That's a fascinating difference. You would think that the Pittsburgh Pirates with Skeens on the mound would be more expensive first 5 against almost any pitcher in the league. They're not here. And when it comes down to it, I honestly thought that I was going to end up on a first 3 under 2 here, but that's not the case. I don't find that as a move that needs to be made. I think that we'll see where the line moves. So the first 3 when it came out was minus 165 to the under, which is where it is right now. So you'd have to build a 2. A 2 would be, I guess I'm kind of lost now. Going over Skeens, so Skeens, look at these two. We have Hunter Green and Paul Skeens. In their last 2 starts, they combined to allow 11 earned runs. I'm very interested to see what happens with this market, but if the books tell us tomorrow that Hunter Green is more expensive first 5 than he is full game, when we know that the Reds have a bullpen advantage over the Pittsburgh Pirates, well, it's going to be very difficult for me not to bet them and not to trust Hunter Green. But at this point, what I thought I'd find more clarity, and that has not been the case here. Philly Eagle Flyer Reds game leaning early under and the over as it goes. So he likes a first 3 under or Nerfy, then a first 5 or full game over. Josh Witt on the Pittsburgh money line. So for me, I'm gonna have to sit with this for longer. I love the pitching matchup, but I'm just gonna sit with this for. Sorry, all day Noop in the house. I'm gonna sit with this for longer. All day Noop, I made 7 bets at $300 a pop, and I went 2-2 in the first half. So I lost a little bit of vig. That's all. So I cashed the Lions first half team total under, and I cashed the first half under. So if that deserves a yikes, you must get scared pretty easily. Now, the problem is that I had so much confidence in the double result, but that was just a 1-unit bet at $300. And as I said, I cashed the first half team total under and the first half under. So you must be a lot of fun at Halloween if that's a yikes. I'm going to cash the full game under. I'm going to cash the Lions team total under full game. So I think I'm still going to pull a profit out of that game. Does that make you say yikes? 7:05 p.m. Eastern. Next spot on the board: Philadelphia Phillies 57-52, 29-25 on the road at the Baltimore Orioles 53-56, 29-27 at home. We're at Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Maryland. Plus 6% runs, minus 2% homers, plus 8% doubles and triples, and plus 7% singles. Now we expect the Phillies to throw out 32-year-old Brian Keller here. That is the expectation. We've only seen him once this year in the show. That was on Saturday, July 25th. He was a primary, 3 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, solo shot, 3 Ks, no walks, and 3-1 loss at home versus the Yankees. AAA Lehigh Valley is where he's been this year. 8 games started, 0-1, 2.23 ERA, 1.02 WHIP, 36 in the third, 38 strikeouts, 11 walks, and 5 homers. So that's our expectation, is that 32-year-old journeyman Brian Keller will be on the hill. Now, maybe that's not the case. Maybe there's going to be an opener for him. Obviously, we need to wait for more information. Let's move on to Brandon Young, who we expect on the other side. 8-2, 3.13 ERA, 4.10 expected ERA, 1.29 WHIP. We have, he's pitching at a very, very, very high level. I mean, there's no getting around it. If there's a chance, if the Lions do take a bigger lead, if you guys could let me know so that I could move on live on the Bombers. So if like the line score here, if somebody could just let me know, I'll live bet on the Bombers. But Brandon Young is what we're talking about here. Brandon Young, Saturday, July 25th. He went 6 1/3. That was the last start. 1 earned run, 6 Ks, 2 walks, and a 3-2 win at home versus the Braves. It was very good. He's had back-to-back very strong starts. Sunday, July 19th, Saturday, July 25th. He looked like he might have been dealing with a little bit of arm fatigue coming into the All-Star break. A couple starts that weren't very strong. He wasn't going deep in the games. I mean, he had 3 straight starts there, June 21st, June 27th, July 4th, where he couldn't, getting out in the 6th inning. But he's pitching at a high level. Orioles bullpen is so good. 2.31 ERA, 0.99 whip over the last 30 days. Phillies bullpen, 5.67 ERA, 1.51 whip over the last 30 days. So there's another advantage here is to attack the Phillies bullpen. And then the sticks, these two teams aren't hitting. Phillies versus righties, 224, 673 OPS. Orioles versus righties, 213, 645 OPS, which means I would have interest. I would have interest in unders here because these teams aren't hitting. And the Phillies bullpen is a problem, but the Orioles offense doesn't scare us. Rodwack says bet on Brandon Young on the money line in all games. Young's team's record during 2026 is 14-3. He says bet against Philly in road games on the money line after having lost 5 or 6 of their last 7 games. Philadelphia's record during 2026 season 0-6. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We only have a couple books who've opened it up, and they've opened up Baltimore's a lukewarm favorite, -120 or -121. From a total perspective here, we have 9s juiced to the under. So we should wait, and we will wait to get more information. But the expectation is that journeyman Brian Keller should be able to hold down the Orioles offense enough. And if we have so much fear in the Phillies bullpen, then we can just focus on first 3 and first 5 unders. We don't need to focus on the full game under. Rodwag says bet under the total in Don Mattingly games after allowing 8 runs or more. Under's record as manager of Philadelphia, 11-2. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board here, 7:07 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Cardinals, 54-54, 26-23 on the road at the Toronto Blue Jays, 50-59, 26-30 at home. Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario. This is the most fascinating game, I think, for me on the card. And as much as I want to talk about Cease, we should talk about Leahy first. But first, let's talk about the weather. Plus 6% runs, plus 19% homers, even for doubles and triples, and even for singles. Kyle Leahy, 7-4, 3.55 ERA, 1.34 whip. Now, he's got a 5.19 expected ERA, but he's been very, very good of late. We have a pitcher right now. He had one start, cut short due to inclement weather. But we're talking about a pitcher who, over his last 6 starts, has only allowed more than 1 earned run once. And that was his last start, Sunday, July 26th, when he allowed 2 earned runs over 6 innings and a 5-3 loss at home versus the Reds. Let's talk about Dylan Cease. The last start Dylan Cease had on, or when was it? I watched it all on Saturday, July 25th. It was one of the most interesting starts I've ever seen in my life. And I took the brunt of it, unfortunately, because watching live, Cease comes out on the mound and he's throwing 93. 93. And, one thing we talk about on our football live streams is stick to your script. Don't let your eyes tell you. When I started live betting, I would say, oh, well, I think this because I'm seeing this right now, and I had a losing ROI. When I started succeeding heavily in live betting with you guys, it was because I had a script that I had capped. And when I saw a spot where that became a much more advantageous line, it didn't matter what I'd seen. I was betting it. And then we were succeeding in a real big way with our live action. So I let my eyes do the talking. Dylan Cease was throwing 93. And I was like, come on. How can a pitcher who's throwing 96 to 99 go down to 93 and still get outs? And so I live bet Boston plus 3.5. He threw 120 pitches in that game. He threw 118 back on July 8th. Dylan Cease started pitching better, and he started pitching better, and he started adding velocity, and by the end of the game, he's throwing 98. He's throwing 99. His final pitch was 99.3 or 4. He allowed one hit. He struck out 12. It was insane. And afterwards, he was like he was talking about his body. He's such an interesting guy, great guy. And he was talking about how his body he just had to trust that it would work for him, that his body would start reacting the way he wanted to. He just had to trust it. So he knew he was throwing 93. He saw the gun on the screen, and he said, "It's okay. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it." Well, the last time that he threw 118 pitches, we didn't get to see him in his next start because it was the All-Star break. The first time this year that he threw, I guess that was the only one. He's throwing multiple 100-pitch games, but his body just wasn't reacting for him here. And I want to back Kyle Leahy in the first 3 in the first 5 innings. I want to. And I don't know if I wanted to talk this out. I wanted to talk this out with you guys before I decided to move on it. So UNLV 94 in the house. I am on the Aces and like them a lot. Lil Domo said I couldn't sign into my account for months, but I've been watching every day. Lil Domo. Oh, man, we've missed you. Dodgers up 2-0. That is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful news. Lil Domo, it's great to see you, man. We've had Chill Will running with us, but we haven't had Lil Domo. It's wonderful to see you back in action, to know you're okay, to know everything's okay. It's a relief. It puts a big smile on my face. So here we go. This is what I want to do, is I want to bet Leahy over the great Dylan Cease. And it's not a fun thing to do. Chris Lawrence says slight edge to Toronto due to the bats recently. Says St. Louis can barely score, probably an under 8. Side note, how can we get into the poker tournaments when you start them up again? I'm down. Oh, I love that, Chris Lawrence. Don't worry. We're going to heavily promote them. We're also going to have live streams while they're on. They're a lot of fun. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's going to be really, really fun. So let's get into this line history. This total opened up at 7.5, minus 123 to the over. Minus 123 to the under. Now there's 8s on the board. So there's been a huge move to the over. I honestly think it is Cease that's vulnerable. Now, Cease is got so much character, and what I saw from that 93 going all the way up to 99 after 9 innings, I'd never really seen that before. He's minus 160 right now. This line opened up at minus 160. It has not moved. It has not moved at all. Let's get it. And we have a top set in the house. Elio off a monster night tonight. He's just hitting so hard. So keep an eye on all that he does. Let's take a look at the price difference here. Price difference for Cease. I think this will tell a story here. We have the Jays at minus 170 full game. First 5 minus 174. So it doesn't tell much of a story. Cardinals are plus 153 full game. First 5 plus 146. So let's take a look at what kind of options that I will have here. First off, we have the cutting the game down. And, the first 3 right now, it's just too expensive for 3 plus a half. The first 3 is a plus 125. So if you want first 3 plus a half, it's minus 150. Can't bet that. But I could bet Leahy first 3. And then you could bet first 5 plus a half. The first 5 plus a half, depending on where you shop. I mean, Bet365 has a terrible line. But here, first 5 plus a half is minus 101. That's 19 cents. 19 cents cheaper than Bet365. A little Domo, great to see you, man. So that's what I want to do. I want to back Leahy first 3 and the Cards first 5 plus a half. After that, when he was being interviewed, Cease was like, he said that the body wasn't reacting the way I wanted it to. And so they're like, well, you're going to, let's talk tomorrow. And he's like, oh, I don't think I can come to the stadium tomorrow. When you're throwing 99, all of a sudden you throw 93 and you find your way through it. I want to challenge him to do it again. Should I challenge him with 2 units? Maybe not. Maybe this is a 1-unit challenge. So that is my plan at this point. Seeing Pinnacle at the minus 170 full game tells me that this line's going to move towards Cease. Bovada minus 182, Heritage minus 171, Bookmaker minus 174. So I'm going to wait. The solution says he likes this spot for Cease. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Any other pitcher in our league that is throwing 118 or over 115 pitches, we faded the next game with impunity. We didn't get to do it after his 118 pitch outing because the All-Star game was next. But we get to do it here. And I'm going to. I just want to make sure that I time this right. And again, I'm not trying to sell anyone the fade of Cease. Mark Sasowski says, can't we just get the unders here? I can't with this market. The opening line is where it should have stayed. They're telling me that one of these two pitchers is vulnerable. And if we're going to sit here and say, look, it's Leahy because Cease is the Cy Young favorite in the American League, that's totally valid. But I watched every second of that start that he just had. And he said afterwards, look, my body wasn't reacting the way I wanted to. I will challenge you to do that again. If he shows up tomorrow, and you'll see it, if he's throwing 98 out of the get-go, well, then I probably lost. But if he's throwing 93 or 94, 95, maybe he doesn't. Maybe his body doesn't figure it out. So that's my plan. We do have, we can look at the cash flow factors here for this one, as this one has been out for a little while. So let's take a look at what they are here. Sorry, let me just move over to MLB very quickly and see. I imagine that this will be a very, very public proposition tomorrow. So, oh shit, why isn't that? Okay, it's not coming up for me. I will refresh and see if I can get it going. So we'll take a look at it in the next one. Rod Zwacky says no bet for him, but he leans Cards. He also says bet over the total in Dylan Cease home starts versus an NL team with a batting average of 255 or worse in the second half of the season. Says the overs record since 2024 is 9-1. And then here we go. Okay, let's take a look at the cash flow for this spot. We have, let's go to the, here we go. Okay, so we have 93% of the tickets on Cease and 11% of the cash. So some big bets have already come in on St. Louis. The totals are 8 at all the legal books. So I'm just going to wait. And Rod White said that's why the over is moving. I'm going to wait. But I want to challenge Cease, which is a very dangerous proposition. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. That's 7:10 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Diamondbacks at the Cleveland Guardians. We're at Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio. We have the young lefty Mitch Bratt on the hill in Cleveland. We have plus 6% runs, plus 8% homers, plus 9% doubles and triples, and minus 4% singles. Mitch Bratt is from about 20 minutes away from my house, just maybe 20, 25, and just north of where I am here. So he's from Newmarket, Ontario. Thank you, Mark. It's such a fascinating game. And then obviously I'm dealing with a bias, Mark, because I watched every second of that start by Cease. But let's talk about Mitch Bratt. So he moved to Statesboro, Georgia. He pitched in the Georgia Premier Academy because you want backwards. In Canada, COVID, it was so horrific, so ugly how we handled COVID. Toronto was a city that was locked down for the longest of any city in the world. And you couldn't play baseball. So he went down to Georgia because he was a top-level pitcher. He ended up getting picked in the 5th round of the 2021 draft. He completed online courses for his school at Newmarket High while he was in Georgia. So he still graduated from Newmarket High. He pitched in AAA Reno this year, and he was unbelievable. 44 and a third, and he only had 4 home runs in AAA Reno. You know how hard that is in the Pacific Coast League? You have desert air. You're up 4,500 feet. Your breaking pitches don't break. The ball travels significantly further. It was a spectacular work. He had a 2.84 ERA, 0.95 WHIP, 3.48 expected ERA. So then he came into the show, and he only went 3 innings the first couple opportunities, 4 2/3, and then 5 innings in this last one where he got touched for 5 earned runs. So he's not this isn't Gage Jump's start. When Gage Jump came up from his Pacific Coast League tenure, he came on and he was shoving immediately. So we're not seeing that here. But what we are seeing, I don't even know exactly what we're seeing from Mitch Bratt. 6.32 ERA, 1.98 WHIP, 5.10 expected ERA. And Kike, this is great from Kike Martin. Kike saying, with you on fading cease to an extent, says he has a losing record the last 2 years after pitching 110 or more pitches. I wish we had the opportunity after the 118, but we don't because it was the All-Star break. So, look, I don't – you guys know I was very high on Mitch Bratt when he came up. I said that he is the best young Canadian pitcher. He's better than Jonah Tong. He's the best young Canadian pitcher in the league, and we expect him to be that. But I don't really know exactly what to expect from him start in and start out. We do believe that we want him at home. Now, in saying that, we've only seen him once at home, and he allowed 2 earned runs over 4 2/3 against a weak-hitting Athletics team. So let's talk about Tanner Bybee. Tanner Bybee, on the other hand, here 4-10, 3.89 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. He's been pretty good. He's got a 4.50 expected ERA. He just wasn't getting offense. His teams weren't hitting for him, and early in the year they were just doing nothing for him offensively. I guess I take that back a bit. Maybe that's just a vividness bias here. So, and there is our guy, Nasty Nate, in the house. What up, Nate? So let's talk about his last start. 3 earned runs over 6 innings, 3-0 loss at the Rays. It was good. We know what the Rays are doing with their sticks. Start before that, another quality start. He's had 3 straight quality starts. So the start before the All-Star break and both starts afterwards. When it comes to the bullpens, Guardians bullpen 3.00 ERA, 1.13 WHIP. Diamondbacks bullpen 3.71 ERA, 1.20 WHIP. So we have 2 bullpens that we can trust. Those are last 30-day statistics. Now, if you look at what Arizona's done with their rolling ERA, it's gone up and away the last 10 games. But I still trust this bullpen. And then when it comes to the sticks, these teams are not hitting. The Diamondbacks are hitting righties much harder than the Guardians are hitting lefties. The Guardians are now hitting lefties. So do we want to say, look, Ramirez is back. Let's focus on the last 10 games? Because over the last 30 days, the Guardians are hitting 212 with a 642 OPS compared to the Diamondbacks with a 249, 730 OPS against righties and lefties, respectively. Let's get into the line history. We have an 8.5. There's been a 9-cent move to the over. A minus 104 to the over is now minus 113 to the over. So we have a 9-cent move to the over. On the money line here, from a money line perspective, we've seen no movement at all. This opening up at plus 120, sitting at plus 120 is very interesting. Let's take a look at the price difference here for full game and first 5. You would assume that there would be a price difference for Mitch Bratt, right? You would that he would be, more expensive. That the Guardians would be more expensive first 5, and that if you wanted to back Mitch Bratt first 5, that you get a really nice price. So let's see if that's the case. The Diamondbacks are plus 117 full game, and first 5 they're plus 117. Now there's more juice on the first 5, so to put it in perspective, the Guardians are minus 129 full game, and first 5 they're minus 137. So they are saying that Bybee does give an advantage. We take a look at the cash flow for this Cleveland spot. We have interleague action, 91% of the tickets, 95% of cash on Arizona, 60% of the tickets, and 75% of cash on the under. I'm hesitant to. I guess the looking at the last 30 games of a statistical profile of the team doesn't really help us here with the Guardians. I mean, we should focus on the fact that Ramirez is back and this team is hitting. I think that's the best thing to focus on. And so if we do that, then Mitch Bratt is probably vulnerable here. We're not getting signs from Mitch Bratt that he's going to start shoving. His last start was against the Nationals. Now, why do I have the Guardians? Oh, yeah. Sorry, Guardians. So his last start was versus the Nationals, and the Nationals are destroying lefties. What do we think of the Guardians? Because looking at the last 30-day stats is a mistake here, and I should put that here. It's not relevant because Ramirez is back and they're hitting lefties. And Chase Lauder, these guys. So I don't think the 30 stat is. So it's not relevant. If it's not relevant, I mean, I guess that then the over would be in play, but we trust these bullpens. So maybe it is an early over. I rarely bet overs. We've been cashing them. So let's just take a look at this full game total once more because we'd want to attack the first 5. We have an 8.5. We see 13 cents of movement to the over. I think that the first 5 over is in play. This wasn't something that was coming to the game with, or to our show with. The first, look at this. Here's the tell. This full game over at Pinnacle is an 8.5. Oh, but it is juiced pretty heavy to the over at -117. But I'm surprised that the first 5 over 4.5 is -128. That's extremely high. Which means that if we went to this first 3 here for Arizona Cleveland, that it should be really high. Let's find out. So the full game, this is 8.5 juice to the over. So it should just be -125 to the over and -115 to the under first 3. And we get here, and it's -145 to the over. This doesn't quite make sense to me. No, I'm making it make sense. And I'm going to be on the first 5 over. First 5 over for me in Diamondbacks Guardians. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board, Chicago White Sox, Tampa Bay Rays, 7:10 p.m. Eastern. This line was absolutely fascinating. There's been a monstrous move towards Eric Fetty and the Chicago White Sox. I went to go bet the Tampa Bay Rays. Without almost like, I'd done the work, but I was like, look, I watched them win today. They had a bunch of things. They allowed 2 hits in that baseball game. There was an error. There was some things that didn't go their way. They were fortunate, I guess, to win 3-2, but they just win baseball games is what they do. And they have Nick Martinez on the hill, an all-star this year, going up against Eric Fetty, and I was going to bet them. And then I saw the line move towards the White Sox, and I was like, good God, okay, well, I can hold off this and talk to you guys about it. Let's talk about Fetty. 4.25 ERA, 1.40 whip, very high whip. Again, he walks too many batters. He allows too many home runs. He doesn't strike out enough hitters. I mean, it's just, we know what Fetty does. It's mediocre or worse. 68 strikeouts, 36 walks. He's allowed 19 home runs over 97 and a third. And anybody could have picked him up for a cup of coffee in the offseason. He's not made it through 5 innings in any of his last 3 starts, but he hasn't pitched that bad. July 11th, 0 earned runs over 4 innings. That was at home, where he is a trusted pitcher. Then the next start was at the Rangers, 2 earned runs over 4 innings. And the start after that, July 26th, 3 earned runs over 4 and a third. And that was at home. Now, look, judging from the splits, he's pitching better on the road than he does at home, but I trust him much more at home than I do on the road. Free bands cashing with the White Sox. What wild situation. 2-unit banger. Cashing the Royals first 5 until the Giants pending. Giants are looking good. Yes, it is 16-13. The Bombers have the ball. I mean, if the Bombers can, at least get a touchdown here, I mean, I should go 5-2 in this game. If they get a field goal, I'll go 4-2. So let's wait and see how it bangs out. But losing the double result with my confidence on it, and I got so many people on it, is really frustrating. Topset says I'm not buying it. Rays are home. This line goes back to -150 tomorrow. The solution says White Sox all day. Godfather says it's a good spot with Tampa since White Sox went 2 days with extra innings, but White Sox are showing heart. Rod Zawacki says bet on the White Sox on the money line versus starting pitcher. His winning percentage is better than 80%. White Sox record since 2025, 5-0. Let's talk about Slick Nick Martinez. 2.45 ERA, 1.10 whip, 4.33 expected ERA. We have a pitcher in Nick Martinez where when he's on the hill, the Rays win. Now, the Rays just win generally, but they've won his last 6 starts. His last start was a thing of beauty. July 25th, didn't allow a run over 6 innings at home versus Guardians. Start before that, 1 earned run over 6 innings at the Jays. He's allowed 1 earned run over 12 innings since coming off the All-Star game. I mean, he's just pitching at such a high level. It's time for us to put away our vividness biases of Nick Martinez being a gas can, because he's continually pitching well. Now, we have the expected ERA issue with him. We've had it all year long. He's got a 2.45 ERA, a 4.33 expected ERA, but he's got a 1.10 whip. He's pitching very, very well. When we get to the bullpens, both bullpens are pitching really well. Now the Rays are pitching elite. 2.76 ERA, 0.90 whip over the last 30 days, just delivering. White Sox bullpen, 2.98 ERA, 1.19 whip. And then when it comes to the sticks, White Sox versus righties, they're not hitting. 227, 710 OPS. The Rays versus righties, 253, 729 OPS. So not a ton of power for the White Sox versus righties. The Rays versus righties, like they have the power versus lefties. So let's get into the line history. And this stopped me in my tracks. First off, we just had a 5-cent move to the over. It opened up at 8, minus 105 to the over. Now it's an 8, minus 110 to the over. When we get to the money line here. On the money line, we've seen this pretty violent move. Now look, Top Set's already partially correct. So this opened up at minus 155, and it went down to minus 130. It's a 25-cent move away from the Rays, a 22-cent move towards White Sox, but it's come back 10 cents. So I think that you are probably right. Oh, wow. That's wonderful, Nate. That's wonderful. So I'm happy. I sent a lot of people in a questionable direction with the double result. I can't believe we didn't catch double result. I'm not going to talk about the game anymore. I think you were right. I wonder if this is just some sort of a trick. Books are trying to throw us a fast one. Maybe I should just come back to the plan. How could this White Sox team not be exhausted? How are the Rays not in the perfect situation? I ask you. Well, you know what? I'm going to copy and paste Top Set's comment. Look, I went to bet them. I didn't go to look at the price. I went to bet them. And then I couldn't. I was like, well, I'll talk it out with you guys. I think that you're probably right. I think you're probably right, Top Set. I think I could get down. Yeah, I agree, Dougie Wise. It's just that, when you see a 25-cent line move to the dog, it'll stop you in your tracks. Let's take a look at what the cash flow is telling us anyways here for this one. Cash flow-wise, we have 83% of the tickets, 84% of the cash on the Rays, 67% of tickets, 88% cash on the over. I wonder if any of these books have made any moves. I don't know why this is. Oh, here we go. Just not. You know what? I'm not going to wait for it. So let's roll on. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. But I'm interested in just moving past this line move and just backing the Rays. Let's roll on. 7:10 p.m. Eastern with the Miami Marlins, 55-54, 21-31 on the road at the New York Mets, 46-63, 24-31 at home. We're at Citi Field in Queens, New York. Minus 4% runs, plus 10% homers, minus 12% doubles and triples, and minus 10% singles. We have Jansen Junk on the hill, 4.89 ERA, 1.36 whip. Got a 4.06 expected ERA. The problem with Jansen Junk, well, first off, he's not pitching nearly as good as he did last year. And I thought he was going to take the next step. This was a pitcher that we were backing quite often. He went on the IL because of right shin bone inflammation. So he went on the IL May 25th, and he was gone for a long time. Came back on July 9th. Shout out to Larry Maven in the house. Great to see you. So then when you look at his statistical profile, and then you can see here by the graphics, you want to back him at home, and you don't trust him on the road. That last start, he went 4 2/3, and he was fortunate to do so. 7 hits, but he allowed 1 earned run, didn't walk a batter, and a 5-3 loss at home versus the Padres. So it's a nice start at home. Last start on the road was against the Astros. He allowed 6 earned runs over 4 innings. You go to the start before that, he was at home. 1 earned run over 5 innings. And then before that, you go before the IL stint, which I don't think is relevant. So he's had 3 starts. His arm should be live. But the question is, do we trust him on the road? And I think what we could say is, well, I trust him more than Freddie Peralta. But that's a vividness thing. When we start breaking down Freddie Peralta's stats, do we trust him more than Freddie Peralta? 4.99 ERA, 1.48 whip. It's ugly, but he's got a 3.84 expected ERA. When we look at Peralta's last starts, it's very difficult to get any confidence in him. Over his last, 5 starts, he's pitched into the 6th inning once. He's made it through a full 5 innings once. If you go back further than that and you take his last 7 starts, twice he's gotten out in the 6th inning. I mean, he's just not pitching well. Now, he just faced the Dodgers at home. They won 8-3, but what's because of him? 2 earned runs he allowed 2 earned runs over the 4 innings. I think that was an 8-3 loss. Or no, that was just on Sunday. When was it recently where God, I'm getting some games confused now with Peralta. That was Sunday, July 26th. Monday, July 20th, 7 earned runs over 5 1/3 at the Brewers. That's the one I was thinking about. God, he was terrible. And for every time I start believing in him, it just blows up in my face. The 3 starts before the All-Star break, he didn't make it into 5 innings. These bullpens also aren't pitching well. Mets bullpen 5.84 ERA, 1.52 WHIP. Marlins bullpen 5.90 ERA, 1.43 WHIP. And then when we get to the sticks, both teams are hitting. Now, the Marlins 279, 843 OPS last 30 days. Mets 253, 750 OPS. So let's take a look at this line history because I'm starting to develop a plan. First off, there's been no movement. And I don't know really how there could be, honestly. It's like a pick your poison situation. Oh, my God, the Lions just scored a touchdown 2019. Oh, man, this is this is fucking tight, man. I did not think this would be that tight. Shout out to Toby Lane. Now, the Bombers are about to get the ball. Let's get into the total here. This is sitting here at 8.5, juice to the under. That's a pretty high total for Citi Field. Citi Field is run suppressing, and it's not tomorrow. Minus 4% runs. That's all it is. So if we go to weather only, Citi Field should probably be offensive. And it is. If it's just weather only, as you guys saw in our graphic, it's plus 4% runs, plus 12% homers, plus 7% doubles, triples, and minus 6% singles. Why wouldn't we be on overs in this baseball game? Top set Mets first 5 team total over 2.5 up plus 110. He says, I think there's value here. But why would we trust either of these guys right now? I don't. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I don't see. Oh, screw this up. Sorry. I don't see why there would be. I don't see why, for any reason, that we should at all trust either of these guys. And I think that should be a first 5 over and a full game over. I think we should handle it in 2 different ways. And I plan on doing just that. Sorry, I got to make sure that I'm ready to live bet here. So that's the plan. I'm not going to mess around with this anymore. I think that both of these pitchers should be challenged. I think these bullpens should be challenged. Let's take a look at the cash flow here and see if the books are moving towards any kind of unders here. We have, oh God, sorry. I'm just so discombobulated, man. Okay, let me just refresh this and we'll go into the cash flow again in a little bit. Philly Eagle Fly looking at Mets tied after second inning, going for 5 games in a row in this spot. Look, I want to attack these guys and I want to attack these bullpens, and we actually have non-run suppressing weather. I think it should be a first 5 over and a full game over, and I plan to bet it as such. I would just really love to see even early cash flow. Not that it would change my thought process that much. But let's take a look here. So we have Junk, Peralta, and now they're not giving us the information. God, this odds logic board's not helping me tonight. Okay, so let's roll on. And Boston ties it up at 3. Okay, that is great news, Swiggy. Well, let's roll into our next spot on the board. And let's get the Bombers come back and win this fucking football game. Good God. So here we go. Our next spot on the board, I have moved on. First 3 and first 5, I'm on the Washington Nationals. Nationals 55 and 54, 32 and 20 on the road at the Atlanta Braves, 63 and 45, 32 and 20 home. We're at Truist Park in Hotlanta. Plus 6% runs, plus 11% homers, minus 6% doubles, triples, and plus 7% singles. Foster Griffin, a 30-year-old rookie. He earned this opportunity pitching for Yomiuri in the Japanese league, and he's been an all-star this year. 2.76 ERA, 1.03 whip, 3.93 expected ERA. Again, we talked about these hiccups and these bumps along the road that these pitchers have through a 162-game season. It's just part of the process. 9 earned runs on May 14th, 5 earned runs on May 19th, 14 earned runs over a 2-start stretch, but he's righted the ship. He's been phenomenal since then. If we go since that start, we've had 7, 8, 9, 10 starts. Only one time he's allowed more than 1 earned run. I mean, is that not unbelievable? That's the answer. It's unbelievable. He's pitching incredibly well. before the All-Star break. 1 earned run over 7 innings, struck out 9, walked 0, and 8 to win at home versus the Astros. His first start after the All-Star break was in Sacramento at Sutter Health Park in the thin air, and he went 7 innings, 1 earned run, walked 1 batter. We have Bryce Elder on the other side, 3.96 ERA, 1.25 whip. He's got a 3.97 expected ERA. So he was having a great season. And then obviously he started dealing with some fatigue. He pitched a lot of innings for a bad baseball team last year. He was dealing with some fatigue, and they skipped his start. So they skipped it after he allowed 5 earned runs on June 27th. At that point, he had allowed 29 earned runs over a 30-inning span, and he was exhibiting diminished velocity. The next start after that, he comes back. He still allows 3 jacks. Now, they were solo shots, so he only makes it through 4 innings. Start after that, at home versus the Padres, he goes 2 earned runs over 6 innings, but he still allows 2 more home runs. So it's 5 home runs he's allowed over those 2 starts since getting the break. And then on Saturday, he allows 1 earned run, still another homer in 5 innings at the Orioles. But we know the Orioles just aren't hitting anything right now. I think that he is vulnerable. I know that these bullpens are vulnerable, but I don't think that the Braves can get to Griffin. So we have the Braves bullpen 5.19 ERA, 1.37 whip last 30 days. Nats bullpen worse, 5.12 ERA, 1.54 whip. But the difference is the sticks. The Nats are hitting 290 with an 897 OPS versus righties the last 30 days. And the Braves are not hitting lefties at all. 226, 660 OPS. I think the move is to back Griffin early. This total is climbing. It was juiced to the over 8.5. Now it's juiced to the over 9. We get to the money line here for this spot. We have a slight move to the Nats. They opened up at plus 115. The first move was towards the Braves, and then it's come back. So now it's a plus 112. So just 3 cents of movement. Let's take a look at the price difference over at Pinnacle for first 5 and full game. Head over here. So the price difference in Braves Nationals. The Braves are a minus 122 full game. First 5, they're minus 109. So that means that the Nationals are plus 110 full game. First 5, they're minus 107. That's a 17-cent move here. A 17-cent move. When I moved on the Nats first 5, I got them at plus 102. It's moved 9 cents in what? 5 hours or so? That's the first 5 line that's moved 9 cents. I'm on the Nats first 3 at minus 105 and the first 5 at plus 102. I bet you this line has moved here as well. Let's take a look. We'll go to 365. That's where I got the first 3 here. So move over to the Nats first 3. The Nats first 3 is still sitting there minus 1. Oh, no. Sorry, that's wrong. Yeah, it's still sitting there minus 105. Look, I think this is must bet. That's what I think. Top set got the Nats first 5 minus 115. So this is a spot that I doubled down on. I only came here with 3 bets, and those are 2 of them. Shout out to our guy, Ronnie Lofton, said had to take time off a bit to tend to the little woman who had a bad reaction to medication. Says, I think all is well from here on out. That is wonderful news. That is wonderful, wonderful news, Ronnie. Great news. We've missed you, and it's great to have you back in business with us, and just exactly the kind of news we were hoping to hear. So we roll on. The card is coming together. No, those were bets I'd already made. So let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 8:10 p.m. Eastern. We have and look at that. Mark Sasowski said, I love this today, and I love it again tomorrow. Washington first 5 money line. I love it. Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, our next spot on the board. Daikin Park in Houston, Texas. We have Nathan Eovaldi, 10-8, 4.05 ERA, 3.95 expected ERA, 1.17 whip. So, last year he dealt with a bunch of Well, I guess he didn't. It wasn't too bad last. I mean, he did. What am I saying? He had the elbow inflammation. Sorry, and then they shut him down August 22nd because of rotator cuff strain. So they scratched him from a scheduled start in May due to left side tightness, and he came back in his first start after that. He shoved, and then he started getting hit. He had 6 starts in a row, and 9 of 10 starts where he allowed at least 3 earned runs. It's not good. Then July 25th in his last start at home versus the Mariners who aren't hitting, he had a nice start. Look, I don't care that much. I think that was a very simple, easy opportunity for him, and that he delivered. And he's showing us no sign other than that start in like a June 26th start at the Jays, who are the worst offensive team in baseball. I mean, it's just, I don't think he's pitching at a high level right now. Let's talk about Hunter Brown. 2-1, 3.45 ERA, 1.28 WHIPs, got 3.67 expected ERA. So he got 2 starts into the season and was shelved with a grade 2 shoulder strain. And he came back in his first 3 starts were good, leading up to a quality start at the Tigers, 2 runs over 6 innings. And then 3 straight starts of getting touched. 6 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs. So then his last start was a good start. 7 innings, doesn't allow a run, doesn't walk a batter, and a 4-1 win at the White Sox. This is a very, very interesting baseball game. Are we going to sit back and trust what we've seen from these 2 pitchers because they're coming off of a good start? Or are we going to trust the body of work over the last little while? And the body of work tells us they're not pitching at a very high level. We get to the bullpens. The Astros have a huge advantage. 3.31 ERA, 1.13 WHIP over the last 30 days. Rangers bullpen has looked vulnerable. 5.77 ERA, 1.50 WHIP. They went deep into that bullpen today. Hopefully they won't have to go deep into it tomorrow with Eovaldi pitching, but they're probably going to force Eovaldi to go deep. And then when we go to the sticks, Astros versus Reddies, 243, 755 OPS. Rangers, 239, 735 OPS. So there's not that much of a difference here. This is crazy for me because I love these 2 pitchers. And Eovaldi, Hunter Brown, I would tell you already, I'm on the first 3 under. Of course. I don't want to do that here. I don't want to believe in the last starts that we saw these guys have. I want to attack them. And I want to see if the market will allow me to. Texas opening up at plus 118. There. Oh, my God. The Lions scored another touchdown. Wow. Was I wrong? This is absolutely alarmingly wrong. Shout out to Toby Lane. Said Lions money line. And I scoffed. Wow. Unbelievable. So I won't catch Lions team total under. Will likely catch the full game under. And then I'll lose the Bombers full game and go 3-4 on this football game. Unbelievable. Wow. God, confidence does not equal positive ROI. And I was so confident. Okay, well, I'm going to put this away. That is Dunzo. Wow. Unbelievable. Whew, it's tough, man. It's tough to take an L when you're so publicly so confident. Getting your friends on it. It's such a slap in the face. Okay, but let's stay focused here because we've got a job to do, man. What a battle we fight each and every day. Okay, so we have 8 here. It's an 8 minus 105 to the over, minus 115 to the other. It has not moved. It has just been sitting here, Yeah, Nate, I'm I don't know what to say other than sorry. I was so wrong. I'm just, just astonished. Okay, back to business here. Yeah, Don, but I'm just got to stay focused. So let's take a look at Pinnacle. Pinnacle has this juice to the over 8. As it should. I don't want to trust what these pitchers did in their last start. Maybe they're just not right here. So, I really, really want to attack these guys. 2 of my favorite pitchers. I mean, but they hold a lot of name value. They hold a lot of name value, but are they pitching at a high level? And I think the opportunity to fade them after this, I would be hesitant to double down on it, but first 5 in full game. Let's see what Pinnacle has for that first 5 over here in Rangers Astros. First 5 over minus 115 juice to the over. It's a pretty nice price. All right, well, let's roll on. Oh, I got the cash flow up finally here. So for the Eovaldi Brown spot, We have 94% of tickets on the under and 90% of cash on the under. And I would be one of those guys if I hadn't been following these guys so closely. And I think we have an advantage because they're both coming off of great starts. Now you could say, look, they're turning the tide. I want overs. First 5 over, full game over. God, I'm going to have a lot of overs tomorrow. It's a very rarity for me. All right, let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 8:40 p.m. Eastern. Kansas City Royals 46-63, 20-36 on the road. At the Colorado Rockies 42-67, 24-29 at home. We're at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. Very, very offensive. Plus 22% runs, plus 3% homers, plus 28% triples, plus 13% singles. Actually, I take that back. This is not as offensive as Sutter Health Park. Wind is blowing in. When was the last time you saw Coors Field plus 3% homers? This is not very offensive, but this total is skyrocketing. Michael Wacha on the hill, 5-7, 3.60 ERA, 1.17 whip, 4.26 expected ERA. On Saturday, July 25th, last time we saw him, he threw 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 homer, 3 Ks, 2 walks, 3-2 win at the Tigers. He has had really nice starts since the All-Star game. And going into the All-Star game, he had 2 starts. He'd gone 10 2/3 and allowed 10 earned runs, 4 homers. It was like that time off really helped him. He's coming off 2 real good starts, and this isn't the most offensive weather, and yet this total is skyrocketing. Let's talk about Tomoyuki Sugano, 4.69 ERA, 1.29 whip. Now he's got the 7.23 expected ERA. He's a ground ball pitcher, and we've heard Spooner talk about how it doesn't give these ground ball pitchers expected ERA a fair shake. Let's take a look at what's gone on with Sugano. So one thing I was talking about with TJ was that we should be fading veteran pitchers in their first start after the All-Star break because they're out of their rhythm. But Japanese pitchers, it's different. You want them to have time off. Our schedule is so much more hectic than the Japanese schedule. And Sugano went to the IR or IL with back spasms. So that was after his June 26th start. And they skipped him a start, and then they said, let's just, you have the All-Star break, give yourself some time. So he was then on the IL for 23 days. So he comes off Saturday, July 18th, 3 earned runs over 6 1/3 in the thin air of Colorado against the Reds. It was a really nice start. Follows that up with a nice start on Friday. And you guys remember that start? I moved on the Rockies first 3 plus a half. He went up against Drohan, and he was the better pitcher. So he's had 2 good starts in tough situations. And when we talk about the situations that Wacha had, Wacha was at home versus the Giants, and then he was at the Tigers. So that's not the easiest, at the Tigers. We talked about the bullpens. Both bullpens are pitching slightly better. The Rockies, 4.60 ERA, 1.52 whip. The Royals, 4.55 ERA, 1.42 whip. And then when it comes to the sticks, Rockies, 245, 748 OPS. Royals, 249, 730 OPS. So both teams are hitting okay. Now, we've been watching the Royals offense just depart. And, man, losing on a grand slam by Clemens, up 3-0. A walk-off grand slam was insane today. So I wonder how these Royals are feeling. Let's take a look at this line history here. Line history-wise, sorry, let me pull this up here. Line history-wise, we have – this has gone back down. It's gone back down a little bit. So we have an 11. So I guess, opening up at 10.5 is just a low number for Colorado. So it moves up to 11. I thought it had moved violently up towards the over. That's not the case. Just not that much. And then we have a huge move towards Tomoyuki Sugano. And it's a move I think we should respect. Or maybe it's just fading the Royals. Maybe it's just that simple. Maybe the Sharps are just fading the Royals after having their beating heart ripped out of their chest, dealing with injuries. The Rockies have gone from plus 117 to minus 105. It's a pretty big move. It's a move that should probably be supported by us. Let's take a look at the price difference here. First 5 in full game. First 5 in full game here with Sugano versus Wacha. And we have the minus 105 each side here at Pinnacle. And the Royals are minus 113 first 5. So they do believe that there's an advantage with Waka here. So I would like to get down with the Rockies here. I think that the idea that we just put our foot down on the throat of the Kansas City Royals, traveling on the road, why would they bounce back in this spot? They must be in the dumps. I think I can get there. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Thompson says, I like the Rockies, but I think KC team total under 6 is the play. He says they can't hit. And Sharpie said, sorry, missed the show. I had to watch Roki with one of my bigger bets of the year on the 6 strikeouts. Easy money. Great job. So I'm interested in the Rockies. Let's take a second here before we move on. My guy Gio Bed says, had a huge parlay last leg was your Bombers. I told myself no more betting CFL. I've been trying to watch the game live and can't find anywhere in the States. Oh, I've got just CFL Plus. www.cfl.ca/plus. And you just sign a form and you get it for free. But man, I let a lot of people down. And it sucks. I mean, I'm 10-2 in MLB right now, and I can just think about letting people down with the Bombers. So it's a tough business, man. It is a tough business, and I hate it. Gaudy Gambler in the house. What up, Gaudy Gambler, Geo Bed, and so many others. I let you guys down. I was really, really confident, and it hurts. It fucking hurts. So let's roll here. You did say that, Sharpie, that Roki would have a night to remember. Thank you, Geo Bed, for handling the loss with grace. I apologize. I set you on the path there. Let's move on. 9:38 p.m. Eastern, the Milwaukee Brewers at the Los Angeles Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. I want to bet this so bad. But even though the line's been moving heavily towards the Angels, I can't believe it. Doesn't the public have to come in and start betting Shane Drohan and the Brewers? I want to back Ryan Johnson, and I've only backed Ryan Johnson one time this year, and that time he was absolutely spectacular. And I don't know if this is backing Ryan Johnson as much as this is fading Shane Drohan, because I think that something might be wrong here. So let's set this game up. Milwaukee Brewers 67-41, 31-21 on the road at the LA Angels, 42-67, 24-31 at home. We're at Angels Stadium in Anaheim, California. Minus 2% runs, even homers, minus 7% doubles and triples, and even for singles. We have Drohan and Johnson. Drohan 5-4, 3.51 ERA, 3.31 expected ERA, 1.20 WHIP. He's been very good this season, but they pushed him back on his start Wednesday. They pushed him back to give him extra rest. Is it extra rest, or is it because he has allowed 11 earned runs in his last 3 starts? He's gone 6 1/3, 6 6. So, he 2 of those were quality starts, but that last start wasn't very good. It's a 5-2 loss at home versus Rockies, and he didn't look very good. This is a young pitcher with a ton of confidence. Could this get in his head? Let's talk about Ryan Johnson, second-round pick in 2024. Now, his numbers are ugly, 7.34 ERA, 1.54 WHIP. He's got a 4.90 expected ERA. And, the second-round pick out of the 2024 draft, he came back up. He was in the majors early in the year. Then they sent him down to the minors. He looked great in the minors. 6 starts, 2.51 ERA, 0.84 WHIP. I mean, AAA Salt Lake City, it's not easy. He came back up. He allowed 5 earned runs in his first start over 5 innings. Then his next start was at home versus the Orioles. And in that start, the line moved towards him. It was just put on a silver platter for us that Ryan Johnson was going to pitch very well. And he did. He allowed 1 hit, walked 1 batter, struck out 8 over 6 innings. He followed that up with another good start at the Mariners. And then the last couple starts haven't been as good, and he's coming off getting annihilated. 3 1/3, 8 earned runs, and a 9-2 loss at the Giants. I think that he bounces back here. Now, Bobby Johnson says Brewers are going to bounce back after the blowout. Bobby Johnson, I don't think that day off really helps that angle. But I could understand why that would be the thought process. I get it. Let's talk about the bullpens. They're both good. I can't believe I'm saying that about the Angels bullpen. A 3.98 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. Brewers bullpen 3.69 ERA, 1.26 WHIP after the last 30 days. Now, the Brewers bullpen got lit up that last game in San Francisco. It skews the stats. With the sticks, the Brewers are hitting righties 267, 763 OPS. Now, we would be, if this was a righty on the mound, we'd say, look, the Angels can't hit, but they actually hit lefties okay. They hit lefties okay. 267, 735 OPS. Man Bear Pig in the house. Dougie Y says he will be on the Brewers, and I know that you won't be alone, Dougie Wise. That's why with this heavy line move towards the Angels, I was like, this has got to come back. Doesn't it have to come back? And it hasn't come back. The Brewers opened up at minus 180. 10 minutes later, they're at minus 175. And then an hour and a half later, they're minus 160. I still believe that this has got to come back. The public has got to start moving on the Brewers, and that I should wait. I think that I should wait until just, before first pitch to move on these bets, because now we'll see tomorrow if the line is doing what we expect it to do. This total opened up at a 10, lasted for 10 minutes before it became a 9.5. Now we have a 9. So we are moving towards the under. Bobby Johnson going to be on the Brewers run line. Top set's going to be on the Brewers minus 1.5 plus 100. So, you guys are all going to be on the Brewers, and I get it. I'm not. Ryan Johnson, has been very, very good at home. And I'm only going to focus on the first 3 and the first 5. And right now, the first 5 plus a half I can get comfortably, but I can't get the first 3 plus a half. It is too expensive. It's minus 145. Let's take a look at this price difference, though. This price difference here, first 5 in full game. So I'm 3-0 in the I have a sickness play of the days. And this will be the I have a sickness play of the day tomorrow. Will be the Angels' first 3 innings at plus money. Let's take a look at the price difference here for the Brewers Angels. We have the Angels at plus 147 full game. First 5 plus 141. So the first 5 plus a half is plus 100. I can't wait for this game. This is the one I'm most excited about. But, not one person has said, I agree with you on the Angels, or I think that Ryan Johnson could pitch well. So that must mean that everybody, the public, is all going to be betting the Brewers tomorrow. So I need to be patient here. Wait. Don't move on it now. Even if the Sharps are moving it to one side, just be patient and wait. At this point, we have 90% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll see what it is tomorrow. But I'm going to be on LA first 3, and I'm going to be on LA first 5 plus half. Dougie White says the warm weather will wake up the Brewers bats. It was pretty hot for San Francisco, but I hear you. We'll see. And I can't wait for this game. But I'm going to wait and be patient. Let's move on to the next ball on board. 9:40 p.m. Eastern, the Detroit Tigers at the Athletic Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, California. As we said off the top, this is the most offensive ballpark, Major League Baseball, on Friday, July 31st. It's not Coors Field. Sutter Health Park plus 33% runs, plus 28%, plus 28% runs, plus 33% homers, plus 24% doubles and triples, and plus 6% singles. This is a very offensive spot. We have Casey Mize on the hill, 2.70 ERA, 0.99 whip. It's got a 3.08 expected ERA. Mize went on the IL twice, and it was all due to the right adductor strains. So he went on the IL the first time after his start April 28th with the adductor strain. Then he went on the IL again in late May with right adductor inflammation. This time, he had to do rehab starts, and he was on for a little longer. When he came off the IL, his first 2 starts weren't very good. And I was saying, look, he doesn't look like the same Casey Mize that we've been watching since his first start in AA when he threw the no-hitter. Number 1 overall draft pick. When we saw him May June 29th, he didn't allow a run over 7 innings, struck out 10, didn't walk a batter in a win at the Yankee Stadium. So we were like, look, he's back. He's a beast. Has another quality start after that. Then he has a tough start in the start before the All-Star break at home versus the Phillies. And he comes out of the All-Star break and he takes a 109-mile-an-hour comebacker from Joe Adell, and he takes it off his left hand. But he also said during that start that it was his first start since post-all, that his hand was problem, but he was saying, I also was dealing with groin tightness. He's just not physically right. He's an incredible pitcher, but he's just not physically where he normally is. His last start at home versus the Royals, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, doesn't walk a batter. Look, the Royals can't hit anything. I don't think Casey Mize is going to enjoy pitching at Sutter Health Park. But he's a great pitcher. Jeffrey Springs on the other side, 3-10, 6.23 ERA, 1.45 WHIP. He's got a 4.89 expected ERA. He's pitching well at times. I guess you can't even say he's pitching well. When he started the season, it looked like Jeffrey Springs was going to be a beast. You remember that start he had April 9th at Yankee Stadium? He went 7 innings, had 1 hit. He was in complete control. They won 1-0. In his first 4 starts of the year, he went at least 6 in all of them, and he allowed 3 earned runs combined. Well, it stopped. He's had a couple okay starts here and there, and they have come at home. Now, the home road splits are nothing to be too excited about. His last start, July 26th, he lasted an inning and a third and an 11-8 loss at the Twins. The start before that, his first start after the break, he looked pretty good at Arizona. The Tigers aren't hitting lefties at all, but we'll go into the bullpen first. A huge advantage, just a huge advantage with the bullpen. A's bullpen, 7.33 ERA, 1.78 WHIP. It's been horrible. Tigers bullpen, 3.38 ERA, 1.25 WHIP. Then when it comes to the sticks, Tigers versus lefties, 229, 638 OPS. And the A's versus righties, 232, 672 OPS. These teams just aren't hitting. They're not hitting. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. We have a 10 opener that's now a 10.5, and it looks like 11s are on the way. So we've had to move towards the over. That is something I agree with, except can we trust the sticks? Then we've had a 5-cent move towards Jeffrey Springs. You could say that is a bit of a surprise. Let's take a look at the price difference, first 5 in full game, and then we'll take a look at cash flow. And this isn't available. Interesting. Okay, so this is not available right now, this one at Pinnacle. It's because the A's are in play. So there we go. Cash flow-wise here, again, it's not available in a lot of books. I don't think we should put too much emphasis into it, but let's take a look. We have 92% of the tickets, 84% cash on the Tigers, and we have no information on the total. So this game isn't really that appealing right now. I understand that there's an advantage with Casey Mize against Springs, but if the Tigers aren't hitting lefties, will the venue change really, get them rolling? I'm not sure. I am not sure. So let's get in. The A's team total under 5 is where Top Set is heading. Joseph Sasso says, you're live in the morning, you're live at night. Do you take naps during the day? I don't. I drink a lot of coffee. And the adrenaline that's rolling through my body with all the action we have each and every day is keeps me up. But Joseph Sasso, I will not live a long life because of this. So let's just enjoy every moment that we can right now. And we love capping the card. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 9:40 p.m. Eastern. The San Francisco Giants 46-62, 20-35 on the road at the San Diego Padres 55-53, 29-24 at home. We are at Petco Park in San Diego, California. We have -6% runs, even for homers, -9% doubles and triples, and -6% singles here. We have Carson Whisenhunt, 2-1, 4.60 ERA, 1.40 WHIP over just 15 2/3, 13 Ks, 8 walks. AAA Sacramento, he's pitched in 16 games. He started 15, 5-4, 4.42 ERA, 1.46 WHIPs, got a 4.90 expected ERA. So he got a start on June 17th. He looked pretty good at the Braves. Now we know that the Braves can't hit lefties, but he looked pretty good. Then they sent him down to the minors. He came back July 9th, 5 2/3 and 2 earned runs at home over the Rockies. Not a bad start. Then he went back to the minors. Then he came back up after the All-Star break. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers, 7 Ks, 2 walks at home versus the Angels. That was on Sunday, July 26th. He did not look good in that start. Now, Boston Red Sox, Giants, can we sorry, I've got Giants Padres here. There we go. Giants Padres. Thank you. So we don't know if it's going to be Carson Whisenhunt, but that's whom we expect. So let's do our due diligence. We also expect it's going to be Herman Marquez, 5.17 ERA, 1.53 WHIPs, got a 5.61 expected ERA. Marquez was placed on the 15-day IL for a right forearm nerve irritation, and he missed 2 months. 2 months. He came back. He was a primary at first and didn't look very good, but that was at the Dodgers. Dodgers destroy him historically. Then July 7th, he had a nice start. Didn't allow a run over 5 innings at home versus the Diamondbacks. Then he pitched at home versus the Jays, and they got to him. Didn't look good. First opportunity out of the break, he's gone 3 innings and 2 1/3, and he's not being good. I imagine there'll be an opener for him, and I imagine that we should fade him and that we should back Carson Wisenhunt. Fade Marquez early. The Padres don't have power against lefties. 253, 710 OPS last 30 days. The Giants, don't have power against anybody, but 247, 732 OPS versus righties last 30. And then the Giants have a bullpen advantage, which I don't really believe in, but according to the statistics over the last 30 days, they have a bullpen advantage. So we'll wait for these pitchers to be confirmed, but I'll take Wisenhunt over Marquez. I'll do that. Let's talk about our final spot on the... Oh, no, it's not our final spot, is it? No, we have Twins Mariners. Our second to last spot on the board. Let's roll 10 p.m. Eastern. The Boston Red Sox, 56-51, 31-22 on the road. At the LA Dodgers, 68-40, 32-20 at home. We are at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles, California. We have Ranger Suarez, the lefty, going up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Now, Suarez, 4-3, 3.02 ERA, 1.15 whip. He's got 3.32 expected ERA. And he... is being rolling. And look at that, Creekman. That's what I needed to read, Creekman. Creekman's been running with us for a long time. Being so wrong on the Bombers has affected me. And I would love hearing that, Creekman. 8-legger, $10 parlay pays out $1,860. Celebrate, my friend, the Creekman, who has always had my back. Creekman, that's great news. I needed to hear it. I'm 10-2 in MLB, and all I can think about is that football game. So let's roll here. Boston Red Sox, LA Dodgers, Dodger Stadium in Chavez Ravine. We didn't talk about the weather in Chavez Ravine, so let's hit that. Plus 1% runs, plus 17% homers, plus 2% doubles and triples, minus 7% singles. It is offensive weather here, but two great pitchers in Suarez and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Let's talk about Suarez. He suffered a left groin strain on July 5th. Start against the Angels, put him on the 15-day IL and forced him to miss the All-Star game. He came back on June 26th, and he looked pretty good. They were keeping his pitch count down. It's 4-0 loss at home to the Jays, but he went 4 innings, allowed 4 hits, didn't allow a run, struck out 6, didn't walk a batter. Again, it was a non-arm-related ailment, and I think that we can trust Suarez here. Going up against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 11-6, 2.72 ERA, 0.90 whip, 3.20 expected ERA. Look, if you look up professional pitcher in the dictionary, it should have a picture of Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This guy just delivers and delivers and delivers. And I mean, even when he has a bad start, Saturday, July 11th, he allowed 6 earned runs. He still goes 6 innings. He's still not going to bust up your bullpen. When has he not gone 6 innings? 2 starts this season. Only 2 starts. He hasn't gone at least 6. What a beast. You know what he did following that? That was the start right before the All-Star break. He came back and went a complete 9 and an 8-2 win at the Yankees. Now pitched Garrett Cole. He had the Yankees back-to-back, and he pitched 15 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. He's just very professional. Now, Red Sox, Dodgers. Red Sox are going to be leaving very offensive conditions and going to Chavez Ravine, which is the pitcher's ballpark. Dodgers bullpen 4.83 ERA, 1.35 whip over the last 30 days. Red Sox bullpen 2.40, 1.03. Red Sox bullpen's being elite. And then the Red Sox aren't hitting righties, 238, 683 OPS. And the Dodgers, well, they're not hitting left. Well, they're hitting lefties okay. They're actually hitting lefties harder than they're hitting righties, 255, 739 OPS over the last 30 days. Let's get into the line history. We don't have much, but BetOnline has come out with a line that is the Dodgers minus 165. They have Suarez listed here at this site, but they have the Dodgers as undecided. Then from a total standpoint, we have a 7.5 minus 110 to each way. Well, I tell you what, we have offensive weather. So that could make me, tap the brakes a little bit. But I would want a first 3 under. I would expect, and I think that the Red Sox might get hurt a little bit here, coming from the offensive situation, similar to leaving Colorado. I'm not sure that I'll end up on that. But I do have some interest in LAD -1. But the first 3 under, I think, will be where I'll want to move. Now it's a 7.5, so I'll be very curious to see what that first 3 is. I don't think that is available yet. Let's see if it is. It is. Okay, so let's take a look here. Oh, it's not. The only thing that they're letting you bet right now at 365 is Suarez props. So we will wait. Thompson says, "What's the Dodgers team total over?" I don't know yet. Now, I did tell you that BetOnline had put a line out. So why don't we check it out right now? This BetOnline, let's go. And because they might, I doubt. Well, what am I? Let's just find out here. I'm logged in, so let's find out what the hell it is. So BetOnline, go over to MLB and see if they've got a team total here or anything more, so we can at least sit with this for a while. It's funny, it says that BetOnline has this game up according to a site that I'm on, but I don't see it here. So they don't have this lineup. I don't know. So let's not trust anything here, and let's wait. So our final spot on the board, Minnesota Twins at the Seattle Mariners, 54-55, 25-28 on the road. Mariners 53-56, 30-23 at home. T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. Well, first off, you have to think that the Twins plane ride to Seattle was pretty exciting. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. They're now 500. They have a chance to play meaningful baseball this time of year, something they haven't done in a while. And Topset says Twins can't hit. They can't hit. That is true. But they must be feeling pretty good about themselves. We have very run-suppressing weather here in Seattle. Minus 15% runs, minus 3% homers, minus 20% doubles and triples, and minus 10% singles. We have Zebby Matthews on the hill. 5.21 ERA, 1.32 whips. Got a 4.74 expected ERA. He was bad in AAA St. Paul. He had the chance to make the opening day rotation. It didn't come close. He was bad in 2025. They gave him 16 starts in 2025. They were a trash baseball team last year. 5.56 ERA. He did not look good. But he gets strikeouts, and that's something that appeals to the Twins brass. He came up to the majors and started pitching well immediately, and I found it difficult to understand. He had 3 quality starts in his first 3 starts. Then he got tagged for 7 earned runs. Then he had a nice bounce-back start. He's going deep into games. He can get soft contact. So the 2 starts before the All-Star break, he allowed 8 earned runs over 10 2/3 combined. So maybe he needed some time off. He got that time off, and then he had a 10-1 loss at the Cubs where he allowed 8 earned runs over 3 innings. Then he bounced back on Friday. And this was an under that I moved on. It was a pretty ugly pitching matchup, and Zebby was one of them, and we cashed the first 3 under here. He went 6 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, and a 2-0 loss at home versus the A's. I'm not sure what Zebby Matthews is going to give you, but I can say, he's a pretty mediocre pitcher, doing pretty mediocre things. Let's talk about Bryce Miller here. 4-5, 2.75 ERA, 0.92 whip, 2.66 expected ERA. Of course, we didn't see him from the first quarter of the season because of the oblique strain. He dealt with elbow injuries all last year, and he was terrible. And then he is spectacular. Then on July 9th, it's the first time where he looks somewhat – actually, I guess June 25th, he didn't have a quality start, and he had back-to-back starts where he couldn't get through 6 innings. Then he followed up with a great start at home versus Angels, but then he got touched up again at the Marlins, 4 earned runs over 5 innings. Then he had a kind of a poor start at home versus the Giants, completely outpitched by Landon Roop. And then he allowed 5 earned runs over 5 1/3 at the Rangers. So what did they do? They pushed his start back. He was supposed to start today, but they pushed it back. He's not the only pitcher on this card that has had a start, pushed back because of a concern about either arm fatigue or something. And I want to attack these guys. I really want to attack these pitchers that there's some question marks, around them and needing the time, the extra rest and all of that stuff. I really want to attack these pitchers and he fits the bill. This is another pitcher that I want to attack. I mean, held back Why was he held back? And do you trust the pitcher held back in this situation? And my answer is no. I want to fade both Shane Drohan and I want to fade here Bryce Miller. Now, if I fade Bryce Miller, it means I'm backing the Twins who can't hit. And then that means I'm backing Zebby Matthews. So maybe the idea is just to not bet this game. When we get to the bullpens, they're both pitching very well. Twins bullpen 2.96 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Mariners bullpen 2.93 ERA, 1.02 WHIP. Neither team is hitting. I know that the Twins aren't hitting it, and with Buxton gone, it's getting even worse. But the Mariners aren't hitting it all either. 203, 615 OPS. Rodswag says bet on Dan Wilson in the home games on the money line after having lost 6 or 7 of the last 8 games. Wilson's record as manager of Seattle 16-2. Let's take a look at this line history here. We have no movement on the total. This was a heavily juiced over 7.5 minus 123 that came out at 1:36 p.m. today, and it's not moved. It's not moved. We get to the money line here. We've had a move towards the Mariners and Bryce Miller minus 175 to minus 184. Mark says my model throws out the home road splits for Zebby due to XFIP and gap. It's only 4.84 to 4.35. Says my model likes the under, but the total going up. The total's really not moving. Topset says, is this a Seattle first 5.5 and bail out? I do not want Bryce Miller. When you are unhittable and then you finally get touched up, and you get touched up legitimately, I really want to see what you do next, and base a person's character off of that. When we get to Penny has the Mariners full game at minus 180. First 5 minus 179. So the Twins are plus 161 full game. First 5 plus 150. And when we look at this first 3 total here for this one, the first 3 total is a pick'em at minus 120. I mean, there you go. It's a pick'em at minus 120. Why would it be a pick'em at minus 120 if it's a 7.5? Now the 7.5 is juiced to the over. So I guess an over 7.5 at minus 125 is basically an 8 at minus 110 each way. So I guess there's not too much, to be said about all of that. Red Sox are up 5-4 right now. Dodgers taking care of business. And the Aces also looking like they are capable of taking care of business for us. And so some good things are happening here. Look, I don't think I can. I'm going to sit with it for longer, but I don't think I can trust the Twins bats at all, even though I badly want to fade Bryce Miller. So I think I'm going to stay off at this point. Let's do a review of action here. It's a pretty interesting card. I came in with 3 bets. Cubs money line minus 135. Nationals first 3 minus 105. Nationals full game at plus 102. These are the additions. I want to sit with the Pirates-Reds game for longer. I almost don't mind if I end up leaving money on the table and it's a very offensive situation. The Cards first 3 and the Cards first 5 plus a half, I'm going to challenge Cease. I've just got to decide when to pull the trigger. That's going to happen. The first 5 over in Arizona, Cleveland. Then I think I may back the plan of Elios and move on the Rays despite the market move away. Maybe it's a head fake. I think that makes sense. First 5 over, full game over in Marlins, New York Mets. I'm already on the Nationals, so we don't need to worry about that spot. And then we have first 5 over, full game over in Rangers Astros. I might sit with that a little bit longer. Going up against Eovaldi and Brown, especially off 2 really strong starts, not something I'm used to. Then I think that the Rockies are the bet. I think that we put our foot on the throat of the Royals. Then we have LA first 3 and first 5 plus a half, LA Angels. Now, that's the LA. So I have a sickness play today, 3-0, started this week. That first 3 will be it. And but there's just no reason to move on it now. The public, everybody's got to move on the Brewers. It seems like everyone's going to move on the Brewers. So just sit back and be patient in that spot. And then I'd like to take Whisenhunt over Marquez if I get the opportunity. I have some interest in that first 3 under in Boston, LA Dodgers. Some real interest. And that is MLB for Friday, July 31st. We got Brant Hunt in the house. What up, Brant Hunt, my man? So let's move on to the WNBA. I can't believe the Connecticut Sun did me like this again. But it's my fault for not taking them first half. Lesson learned. It won't happen again. Now, if I'm, let's just leave it at that. We don't need to get too much into it. Let's roll. 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the Seattle Storm at the Atlanta Dream. Storm 6-24, 2-13 on the road. Dream 17-10, 9-4 at home at Gateway Center in College Park, Georgia. Storm coming off their 7th straight loss, 9th in 10 games, 105-95 at home to the Fever on Tuesday night. Natasha Hedeman, man, 6 threes, went for a career-high 33. But the big story was that Dominique Malonga missed the game with a back injury. It's the first game of the year that she's missed, and she'll be back for this one. They could have used her. We missed the Seattle Storm by a half point. Justin McKelvey and I both missed it by a half point. The Fever went 26 for 26 from the foul line. They missed one of those. We cashed it, but I digress. Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot because the Storm are facing the Atlanta Dream. And the Dream are coming off that wild last-second 82-81 win at Dallas. And that's a situation where I would be very interested in fading them. So let's see what we are dealing with here. We have Seattle plus 12.5. I think that should be bet. I really do. I think that you fade a team off a wild last-second win like that. I think they should be faded. I would like to get cute here and take the Storm first quarter, but it does not help me at all getting cute, and I should just focus on the full game. But I would like to challenge the Dream after that storybook performance. I definitely don't want to double up, but I would like to challenge them first quarter. Is that just me, wanting to challenge them and trying too hard? It's possible. I think the Storm should be bet plus 12.5. I think the Storm can be in this game. They would have beaten that game versus the Fever had Fever not gone 26 for 26 from the foul line, and they get Malonga back. I think it makes sense. I think the Storm makes sense. Let's take a look at the cash flow here, though, and then make some decisions. We can trust the cash flow at this point. Come on, let's get over there. Come on. Okay, it's taking a second. We can move on to the next game here while we are waiting. But I think that if this was the NBA, we would be fading the Storm. Excuse me, we'd be fading the Dream after the 82-81 last-second win. Why wouldn't we do it here? Rod Zawacki says Storm are 8-1 against spread in their last 9 games. They're a team with a winning straight-up record. And Creekman is on the Storm and the over. So, here we go. So now we're loading. So I would like to look at the cash flow if possible. I think that would be helpful. And let's move over to WNBA. And here we go. Okay, so for Seattle, Atlanta, you have 87% of tickets and 93% of cash on Seattle. That might make me pump the brakes a bit. I mean, I know that it's not a bunch of wreck gamblers betting the night before, but it's, I know that's sharp action, but that makes me a little uncomfortable. So, should I let it make me uncomfortable? I'll make that decision afterwards. I wasn't planning on when I capped this game today. I didn't think that I was going to be moving on the Storm, but I do feel like that would be the move now. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Dallas Wings 18-10, 10-5 on the road at the Washington Mystics 15-12, 7-6 home at Care First Arena in Washington D.C. So the Wings took the brunt of that last second 82-81 loss at home to the Dream on Wednesday, and the Mystics coming off their third straight win 92-84 at home versus the Sun. I do not want to fade the Mystics ever, but you have to think that this is an angry Dallas Wing group. If you gave me, let's say that the Wings weren't coming off a heartbreaking loss. If you gave me the opportunity to have Mystics Wings with Mystics in Washington and a 3, let's say an even 3, I would bet it. I would bet Washington at plus 3. This opened up at plus 3.5. Now it's plus 2.5. My concern is simply that Dallas is coming off of that loss, and they could be a very angry group. Totals come from 169.5 to 168.5. So let's grab the cash flow here. cash flow wise for this one. It's 50% of the tickets are on Dallas, but 82% of cash, and the line's not moving towards them. You got 90% of tickets, 93% of cash on the over. I'm interested in the Mystics here, but I just don't want to fade Dallas after that heartbreaking loss. I feel like they're going to be an angry group here. Remember, they'd won 8 of 9 games. That only loss was a 99-98 overtime loss to the Liberty at home without Paige Beckers. So I am hesitant here to fade them. Let's move on. Indiana Fever, Portland Fire. We're at the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. The Fire, when these expansion teams lose key pieces, when they use key pieces, they don't have the depth to handle it. And losing Sarah Ashley Barker to the ACL injury was a big loss for the Portland Fire. The Fire, though, have been great at home. And this is the kind of number that you'd want to back the Fire in. We're at the Moda Center. They're 6-7 at home. The Fever come in off that big victory over the Storm. Caitlin Clark went for 32. Kelsey Mitchell went for 28. Aaliyah Boston left in the second quarter with a lower leg injury. I believe that she's expected to be okay now here. Let's just do a quick injury update for Aaliyah Boston. And yeah, they expect her to play. She's listed as probable. So Aaliyah Boston will be in. That's an important note here. So Aaliyah Boston went down and Clark and Mitchell just took over the game. Clark hit 4 threes, went 9 of 14 from the field, 7 assists. She's just running. Mitchell has scored 20-plus points for 12 straight games. That's the tied for the third longest streak in WNBA history. And then again, the Fever shot 26-26 from the line. So Portland, coming off the pretty ugly loss to the Aces. Now, the Aces are a very good team. Megan DeLeo went for 20. Buhner went for 16. Let's take a look at line history here for this one. This total opened up at 183.5. It's up to 188. Jesus, a massive move to the over. And then when it comes to the spread, Indiana's gone from -7.5 to -8. This is exactly the number that I like backing Portland Fire in. But now that they've lost a Barker, double-digit point scorer, I'm hesitant here to back them. Creekman leaning on the under in this one. Rodzawacki, though, says the over is 8-1-1 in Fire's last 10 games as a home underdog. I thought by the end of this breakdown I would be on the Fire. I don't know if that's the case. I'm going to leave question marks for the Fire. So I didn't come to the show with action, and I want to sit with these games for longer. I want to fade Atlanta after that last second loss. I like the Storm plus 12.5, but it's a very, very public road dog. Public road dogs in other sports, we know that they lose at a very high rate. Then I don't want to challenge the Wings after that late loss, but if this was a Wings Mystics series and the opening game was in Washington, I would probably take the Mystics to win that series. So I know that there's a lot of people who've been cashing off the Wings on up until we cashed on the Dream against them, and then the Fire, this is exactly where I want them. 7 to 10 point dogs at home. They've been great, but that injury, I want to sit with it for longer. All right, let's get into the Canadian Football League, and I am still a mess over what went down. The fact that Horvath and Salter could annihilate the Bombers is insane. 35-19. I mean, O'Shea will get fired. I mean, he should probably get fired over it all. I do want to show, though, here how far I've come as a gambler. I've come a long way. Sorry, let me pull up here. Sorry, where's the nightly bag? So if this was before I went down to Costa Rica in 2017, I would have had multiple thousands of dollars on this. I would have also likely went to Vegas expecting to pay for the whole trip off of one bet. Would that one bet have been Winnipeg -6 or the Winnipeg double result? So now that I've been gambling for so long, I make 7 bets on this football game, all correlated with my expectation that the Bombers are going to win. And in those 7 bets, I go 3-4. And I guess now looking back at it, if I didn't lead so many of my friends to a loss, I would be sitting here kind of proud of myself. Because that's a big difference. Instead, I bet $2,100 on 7 different, $300 on 7 each on 7 different bets, and I come out with a winning day in sports gambling because I was 10-2 in MLB. That's before Red Sox -1 and the Dodgers first 5 -0.5. So I could be 12-2 when it's all said and done. So maybe I'm just saying that for me, but I think that's the most wrong I've ever been with that kind of confidence level and without like a massive injury to blame it on. So it hurts. It really, really, really stings. And Manbear Pig said it would have been different if Bombers quarterback didn't get hurt. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't hurt in that first half, but okay. So let's roll on. Our first spot in the CFL, Friday, July 31st, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Montreal Alouettes at the Ottawa Redblacks, TD Field in Ottawa, Ontario, 79 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 3 miles per hour winds. So I was so confident in this first game that I hadn't moved on the other 3 games. But I want to talk them out with you because I do have some feelings on them. And there are some action that I would be very interested in making. So let's start with the line history here for Redblacks Alouettes. Now, Davis Alexander's never lost to the Redblacks, 5-0 against them. This line opened up at 4.5, and it got all the way to 7.5. And that was deemed too many points. Came back to 6.5. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting that it's come back. And I think I can explain it. From a total standpoint, this opened up at 61.5, and it's now a 60.5. So let's talk. Davis Alexander. The Alouettes come in off a very underwhelming 31-18 win at the Tiger Cats on Sunday. So this is a very short week. That's the most important. You could say the most important angle is that, the Alouettes have Davis Alexander. The Redblacks have Jake Mayer. That gives the Alouettes a major advantage. The Alouettes are the best team in the CFL. The Redblacks are the worst team in the CFL. You could say all those things. But from a scorecasting capping standpoint, the fact that the Redblacks are coming off of a home game and a bye, and a home game where they lost in triple overtime, then a bye, and then they play the Alouettes, and the Alouettes just played on Sunday. It's a huge advantage for the Redblacks. Huge. Also, this total is too high. It's just too high. The first time the Alouettes and Redblacks played each other, it was a very high total too, but the Alouettes special teams were terrible, and the Alouettes were going to cover the big number, but the Redblacks scored a punt return. Was it punt return or kick return touchdown late and covered? That 31-18 win at the Tiger Cats on Sunday, it threw me for a loop. Now, I cashed the first half under and the full game under, but I lost the Tiger Cats plus 10.5, and I shouldn't have. The Tiger Cats were up 18-17 going into the fourth quarter. Then the Alouettes, the Alouettes keep pressuring you, and they took over. But the score flattered them. The Tiger Cats defense, which is very good, the Tiger Cats defense held Davis Alexander to 21 of 29 from the field for 187 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. The thing that worked for the Alouettes was Travis Dice. This guy's a beast, South Dakota running back. 19 carries for 156 yards and a touchdown. A lot of those yards were real tough gains for the teeth of the defense. He's run for 373 yards over the last 2 games. And now this is where you attack Ottawa. Their ground defense is terrible. They're allowing 123.2 yards per game on the ground. So again, if you take the ball out of Davis Alexander's hands, if you take the ball out of Philpott's hands, and you create a situation where they're running and running and running, just like that game in Hamilton, unders would then be in play. But Montreal's offense averages 443 net yards per game. But the Ticats showed you can slow them down. Redbacks coming in off their bye week is a big deal. 36-34 triple overtime loss at home to the Bombers. Jake Maier went 30 of 40 for 344 yards, touchdown, interception. Eberhardt has become a beast. Last 2 games combined, he's caught for 247 yards. Now, Montreal's secondary completely shut him down when they faced him in week 4. Then you have Greg Bell, who's looking a little bit better. That was the big signing for Ottawa in the offseason, was to get Greg Bell running the ball. He ran 14 times for 65 yards last out. And their defense looked much, much better. But now I've got to put a caveat on that. They held the Bombers to 9 points through 3 quarters and held the number 1 running back in the league, Brady Oliveira, to just 48 yards on 10 carries. Now, but the Bombers' offense looked horrible. When did Drew Brown get hurt tonight? At what point in the game? He got hurt in the 4th quarter. So I think that I should pull back now on Ottawa holding Winnipeg to 9 points in 3 quarters. I think I should move back, but I feel like this total is too high, and I feel like the Redblacks have a massive, massive rest advantage, which leads me to wanting the Redblacks. I think there's a reason that it went up to 7.5 and came back. So I'm still a little shook from this first game of the week, but Redblacks and the under appeal to me at this point, and I'm going to sit with it for longer. Let's go into game 2. Saturday, August 1st, 3 p.m. Eastern. The Calgary Stampeders 3-4, 2-1 on the road at the Hamilton Tiger-Cats 3-4, 2-2 at home. We're at Hamilton Stadium in Hamilton, Ontario. 80 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 6-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history for this game. And I can tell you my thought process immediately. When this total came out at 61.5, I was like, well, you got to bet the under. But I was only thinking of the Hamilton Tiger-Cats defense and Trey Ford at quarterback. The Stampeders have played the overs every single game this year. The first over I've bet all season long was last week. Last week, Calgary, Winnipeg, I bet the over. And that total moved towards the under. I don't think you can bet an under when the Stampeders are playing. I think it's either an over or no bet. And when Hamilton comes to town, that would be a no bet here. Much love, Joseph Sasso, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with us, being in the chat and capping with us. So the Stampeders coming off their best game of the year. They beat the Bombers 52-30. Vernon Adams, 18-27, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's now throwing 20 touchdowns with 0 interceptions to start the year. The CFL record. He's the MVP right now. But the Stampeders are just 3-4. It's because the Stampeders have had the toughest, and I mean the toughest schedule in the CFL. Jalen Philpott caught 4 passes for 120 yards and touchdown. The Stamps have a 2-day rest advantage, but the Stamps are traveling for the second time in succession. The Ticats coming off a short week. They were last seen a 31-18 loss at home to the Alouettes. The defense looked very good. They shut down Davis Alexander, held him to 21-29 for 187 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Trey Ford looked okay, 15-23 for 164 yards, touchdown, interception. The thing is, he wasn't running the ball. He only ran 3 times for 24 yards. I have to stay away from the total. And I think the Stampeders take care of business. But the problem is that the Ticats looked really good in that Alouette game until the last 4 minutes of the game. That the score doesn't do justice to what the Ticats did. Now, the Stampeders got some confidence last week, winning a game on the road. So I am interested in backing the Stamps. As I said, this total has gone down, but I don't know if I should here. This line opened up at 4.5, went up to 5.5, it's come back to 4. This is a tricky spot that's going to require some more time here for me. And then the final spot on the board here, and the final spot on our show, Saskatchewan Roughriders, Edmonton Elks, Commonwealth Stadium, Edmonton, Alberta, 85 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 3-mile-per-hour winds. This is such an interesting game because, I almost never have the wherewith or the confidence or the conviction or the wherewithal or whatever. I will not back a team when it's a home and home that won the first game, especially when they win the first game in the opponent's barn. So these two teams just met in a 36-34 Elks victory at Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, you could say, look, the Rough Riders were dealing with the heaviness of the Jaden Dalkey death, and that is very legitimate. A very sad, horrible story. But the problem is that Corey Mace's defense did not look good. Cody Fajardo went 25 of 32 for 510 yards and 4 touchdowns. He drove the Elks from their 8-yard line in the final 2 minutes to set up a last-second field goal by Vincent Blanchard to win the game. Trevor Harris looks good still, 26 of 36 for 386 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. But there are some injury issues, serious ones. First off, Roland Milligan Jr. has been ruled out of this game. In 2024, he was the top defensive player in the league. He made his return to the lineup last week against Edmonton. He had a 4-game absence with a shoulder injury. Now he's dealing with a knee injury. So Samuel Emilus, who's been a phenomenal receiver, he's questionable with a foot injury. But A.J. Ouellette, their running back, is out. Their great running back is out. And their left guard, Zach Fry, is being ruled out. These are big losses. Then one thing about the Elks here. Now the Roughriders have gone from dog to favorite. But one thing about the Elks is they've been the laughing stock of the league for a long time. They don't care. They don't care that we beat them. No, they want to keep beating every team in the league. They're not used to winning football games. With these injuries, everybody's on the Roughriders expecting them to bounce back. I don't buy it. I'm interested in backing the Elks again. And I think I pull the trigger. Now there's almost no home field advantage for the Elks at Commonwealth Stadium because it's empty, but they're 3-0 at home. So I'm going to sit with this tonight and have attacked the board by the time we're here in 9 hours and 55 minutes for the morning show. That is our show for today. The nightly bag in full effect. I can't do it without you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Joseph Sasso, Morgan Spooner, Man Bear Pig, the Creek Man off a huge score. And Creek Man said that if you're on the Mystics, you would play the under. I've stayed away from totals in the WNBA and NBA as much as I possibly can. So thank you guys. Rod Zawacki, OG, Bobby Johnson, Brant Hunt, Top Set, Mark Stasowski, Philly Eagle Flyer. Thank you guys so much. Sharpie, T-Moss. Thank you guys so much for your support, man. So let's just take a last look at what's happening in the MLB here. We have the 5-4 lead, but bottom of the ninth, so we'll take a push there. We cashed the Dodgers first 5 minus a half, so that all works. And then we have 16 seconds left in the timeout with a 5-point lead for the Aces, so the double result is not in jeopardy. We're going to cash that. The question is, do we also cash the spread? We shall see. It feels like I've aged 10 years in one day. I'm going to go 11-2 probably in MLB, 2-1 in WNBA, 3-4 in CFL, but it feels like a losing day just because I was so confident in one spot. What a battle. What a battle this is. I'm very thankful that I get to fight it with you guys. So on behalf of all of us, Pop Sports Radio, thank you guys for your support. I will see you in manana. In the meantime, milk these bookies. Shout out to Swiggy on the 1s and 2s, man. Thank you for holding it down. Let's milk these bookies, man. Leche. Hey, los bookmakers. Milk it.
It's easier to sleep in the black. When you're losing your ass and feeling so, you know what to do. Tune in to Pop Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride, you're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem, keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Dabby and the fam, Dutch Wine Time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.